This week has been warmer than the last. The snow is beginning to melt, but the trails are getting icy. It's still dark in the morning when we get in, but that's okay, because it's prime time for deer activity. Notice this alpha deer is hoarding all of the cracked corn for herself. Every time this subordinate deer tries to come in, she gets pushed away. She is hungry, but never allowed to eat this cracked corn. At some point, however, they'll find a food source that she too can indulge in. The bird feeders are still getting a lot of traffic. I've been told by multiple people that the common bird feeder birds, such as the juncos and chickadees and nuthatches, also have a sort of a feeding hierarchy such as the deer. However, it looks to me as if they all share equally. But it is also extremely difficult to track individual birds since they all fly in and out so quickly. A pair of red-tailed hawks seem to have claimed one of the near fields as part of their territory. We see them here every day now. Red-tailed hawks are opportunistic feeders and will eat almost anything that they can get their talons on. This pair in particular has seemed to have grown fond of the crows that also inhabit this field. Redtails are easily recognized in flight. They have a distinct belly band, large broad wings, and a relatively short tail, darkened shoulders and wingtips, and a dark comma-like marking at each wrist. And typically, they do a lot more gliding than they do flapping. This time of year is tough for the crows. Not only is there less food available to them, but there are also more crows in a close proximity trying to feed on the same food source. Within the past week and a half, we have found 2 dead crows. And this crow is obviously weakened. I startled this one, but all he could do was fly a few feet off the ground and not fly away. There are some interesting life forms in the snow, but the information seems to be scantily available. This can be identified down to the family of sunflies, but not any farther than that. It is fairly obvious with the balled up antennas and long, broad wings. The only information about it that I could find was that its larva probably feeds on fungus, and it probably doesn't feed at all as an adult. Crane flies are also commonly seen on the surface of the snow. Notice these long, stilt-like legs. They probably help to keep the body off of the snow, therefore reducing heat loss. And of course, wherever prey items are found, there will be predators found lurking nearby. Recently, there's been many sightings of a bear in this area. And one night, the bear seems to have passed through the corner of our sanctuary. We did follow all of the tracks, and it seems that it was just passing through. It didn't stop to eat or rest or anything. These tracks are the first confirmation for a bear that Spring Farm Cares has ever had. There are plenty of coyote tracks throughout the sanctuary, and we found one spot where they were digging for rodents. In the summertime, coyotes are omnivorous, but this time of year, as the scat indicates, they are mostly predatory. We also see fox tracks, which are smaller, and they go to places that coyotes cannot, such as shrubby undergrowth. It's pretty obvious where the deer have been sleeping at night. Right in front of our bird feeding station by the beaver pond, a muskrat made a little hole out of the ice. From here, it can pilfer birdseed and quickly return to the safety of the water. Raccoons almost seem to go out of their way in order to cross logs. Rabbit tracks are common throughout the sanctuary. And it looks like right here there was a scuffle between a couple of rabbits. I'm guessing these small tracks were a mouse because you can see the tail dragging behind it. Whereas these tracks show no tail, indicating maybe a shrew or a vole. If you follow squirrel tracks far enough, you'll find that they either run up a tree or you may find the place where they buried a nut. And that ends another great week at Spring Farm Care's Nature Sanctuary.